Good afternoon, welcome to the Manet. A big week for the Cornish Pirates this week. Not only have they got to beat Bedford today to make sure they qualify for the Championship playoff semi-final, but also the announcement of one or two players leaving and the high-performance manager Chris Stirling. And I'm delighted to say Chris has joined us today. Chris, what is your new role with the New Zealand Rugby Union?
It's a pretty long-winded title. High Performance Talent Identification Manager. So yeah, take out of that what you want. But it's to do with identifying talent from the age of 16 through to 23, right throughout the whole of New Zealand and in fact worldwide as well, players that are eligible to play for the All Blacks.
Excellent, quite an extensive job then by the sound of it.
Yeah, a lot of travel. Most of it will be within New Zealand though, so unlike living on the other side of the world, I may be away for a few days, but not 18,000 kilometres or miles or however many it is.
I was going to say that too. Obviously there's been one main reason for you moving, that's go back to your family, and the other one the stadium. Yeah,
and I mean they all contributed. If there was some definite decisions being made and the Pirates could push on to the push for the premiership in the near future, then my family probably would have moved over this way, but it wasn't to be. We just have to deal with the situation the way it is, and I had to make a decision to return.
How difficult a decision was it to leave the Pirates, because you've been here 3 years, built up a good rapport?
Yeah, no, extremely difficult. Something that I've spoken to my wife and daughters about at length for a long time since the announcement was made. I think it was Leeds away in stage one, when the stadium was not going to be not going to be built in time for the end of this season. So, then we started to look at what was best for us as a family.
You mentioned some of the players you're going to identify with New Zealand Rugby. Is it possible that some of them could still come over here?
Yeah, well, that'd probably be a little bit of a conflict of interest. But I mean, there's plenty of players who are outside that bracket that I'm sure that now players back in New Zealand know that I've been in England and coached at a highest level in England. Then I'm sure I'll get people approaching me.
When you first came to the Pirates 3 years ago, it was to oversee the implementation of the ELVs, the experimental law variations. Yeah. But also your job became much more than that, didn't it?
Yeah, when Dickie contacted me originally and asked me to come out for a consultancy period of 7 weeks, and he said that the ELVs, the squad was a good squad and they were struggling, I thought, okay, yeah, well, there's going to be other things that will probably be underpinning the lack of achieving, and sure enough, when I came out, it was pretty apparent, pretty clear to see.
What was the hardest task you had to do then?
The hardest task? Relocating, leaving New Zealand. I mean, lived and worked there all my life, so I mean that was pretty difficult. But once you got to grips with that, the players, we set an environment. The players contributed to what they wanted the environment to be. Senior players bought in, the squad bought in. We involved the whole club, the staff, our outstanding group of volunteers who come down and tirelessly work away on maintenance of the place. Everyone was important, and I think that sort of laid the foundation, and we just moved forward from there.
Has that been your implementation, or is it a management group as a whole with Ian and Harvey as well?
Well, I mean, Ian and Harvey, they bought into it. It was ideas I bought from New Zealand, really. Any team that I'd coached in New Zealand or any club I'd been involved with developing, it was always about making sure that we were all in it, doing it for the right reasons and doing it together, and and everyone was important, right from the most important star player to the person who, as I say, turns up with a paintbrush and helps maintain the premises here.
You have seemed to implement a sort of family ethos here at the Pirates, and that's obviously what you brought in.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I probably actually get a little bit more attention, or shall we say, I won't say respect, but my wife and my daughters, I'm fairly dominated in that household, totally outnumbered by females, and here in a male environment, it's good. And the guys, I must say, they're a fantastic group of people. And one thing that we've done when we've been recruiting is anyone who comes into the environment must add to it and not detract from it.
What's given you most satisfaction from what you've achieved here?
The likes of players going to the premiership, believe it or not. I mean, even though it's really hard and you look at it and you go, oh, golly, that's going to hurt us, and how are we going to replace this guy? But then you sit back and, and the whole squad and everyone can give themselves a pat on the back and say, well, we contributed to this guy having an opportunity. And so that's given me a lot of satisfaction. The way that the players have developed, and also the coaching staff, the way that they've developed. I mean, Ian is definitely management head coach material. He's shown that from day one, and he's developed. And Harvey, who came from a rugby background and has really taken on board the lessons that I've been trying to work with him and develop him on. And he's made a lot of progress, and he's not far off either. So a very strong coaching team.
Has any one player given you the most satisfaction that you've brought in and seen him develop?
No, I can't. I'm really pleased, obviously, for the two Kiwi boys that came over, and Blair, who's playing in the Premiership, and I'm sure that Johnny would have been if he didn't suffer the injuries that he's had in the last 12 months. So really proud of them, but then no more proud of the other guys. I mean, the whole squad itself, everyone's developed. You've got a guy like, I'll use Alan Paverin as an example. When I came here, he was obviously set piece was his forte, and he loved it. And we worked really hard on his defence, which was an area he wasn't comfortable with, and he's one of the better defenders in the team now. And whenever he's in a mid-channel in the field defending, he's comfortable and confident. And I mean, that's credit to him. That at his age, he's
still learning.
That he's prepared to still learn and develop himself, and so you take a lot of satisfaction out of that.
Someone like Matt Hopper, who you brought here to the club, and within a year he'd gone on to the Premiership, so there's some satisfaction out of that? Yeah,
definitely. He was an easy fix, to be honest. All we needed to do was adjust his running lines. He tended to align himself too tight and chase and run into the space he wanted to attack, but we moved him wider and got him attacking in, and then putting the ball into the space or attacking that space, so in other words holding the defence out of where he wanted to go. Very easy fix with him because he had all the attributes. He had the pace, he had the aggression, he had the power, and he had the skill set to go with it.
And a couple other Pirates players going on, Drew Lock and Dave Ward.
Yeah, fantastic for Drew, and I think I've said before, I think Gloucester is definitely the club for Drew. They like to play an open running style of rugby, and they've got some pretty exciting backs, and he will fit in there like a glove. It'll be great for him. So, and Wardy going to Harlequins, well deserved. 3 years in the Championship, playing 100 games, over 100 games, after playing probably a handful in the 3 years, 2 or 3 years prior to that. It just proves that he's been determined. It's always been his dream to get back to the Premiership, and I'm just wrapped for him, and I'm confident that he will make every poster winner up there, and he'll be a star performer.
I'm sure he will. Looking ahead to the future, obviously the ultimate aim of the Pirates is to get to the Premiership. They need to get the stadium in place first. What else do they need to do if they have the stadium?
Well, it just needs to snowball, really. I mean, I've always looked at Exeter, and because they've been so successful, and this is only my opinion, but what happened at Exeter is they got the facilities and they got their off-field structures in place, and they were up and ready, and then they invested money in the playing side and bought that up, and then they progressed level together and went up, and look where they are now, sitting in the semi-final spot in the Premiership.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So I mean, the Pirates, that's what I think. I think that it's an overall development. The on-field stuff still needs to be developed quite a bit, but the off-field stuff needs to be developed as well. And it'd be fantastic to see a facility being built, and Cornish sports teams playing out of that facility, and 8,000-10,000 people turning up for match days, and because it's a beautiful part of the country, and I'm sure that if the Pirates were in the Premiership, that supporters from other clubs would make sure that this was a game in their calendar that they came to.
Yeah, I'm sure. On a personal level, what are your ultimate aims in coaching? Is it to be in charge of an international team in the future?
Yeah, well, the direction I'm going in now will take me down a different track, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's an area that I definitely can develop myself in even more, and it will. I'll be working with elite people at the very top level, and I mean, in the world of rugby, elite rugby, New Zealand are fairly elite. So. I'm very privileged.
World champions, yeah.
Yeah, well, we are at the moment. I'm very privileged to be, and lucky enough to be working in that environment. So, when it comes to the coaching side of things, I'm sure I'll put my hand and help out wherever. I know my local club back there will probably contact me and ask me to come and help them occasionally. And if I'm at a loose end, well, yeah, I'd love to help them as well. But we'll see what happens.
What will you miss most about the job here in Cornwall?
People,
yeah.
This place. I think this is really special, and it's just a shame that we couldn't build a 10,000 seat stadium here, because its location right by the sea, It's a fantastic venue. I really do enjoy the Pirates playing here and being involved in that. Miss the obviously the squad, the coaching staff, the staff who work here, the supporters and everybody else, the officials that I've got to know throughout the country, the media people that I've got to meet, and you know, it's been very humbling. I've had some very nice messages from people all over the country, so you know, it's very humbling.
I must admit, you've made yourself very available to the press since you've been here, the 3 years. You've been very willing to speak, even when perhaps the team haven't done so well. I remember last year up at Esher, you came to speak to me, and you obviously weren't happy because the Pirates had lost, but you still did it.
Yeah, well, it's struggling with the performance. It's the disappointment when you see how hard the guys work, but it's professional sport. You know, you've got two teams out there, and sure, we've worked hard. We've put a lot of effort into preparing ourselves, but so have the opposition. You know, some days it just doesn't work for you. If it was going to work every day, you'd never lose a game, and you know, the Pirates they'd be premiership and up the top. It doesn't work like that. But it's not so much the loss; it's the disappointment with the performance and certain aspects of it that I struggle with.
You're dealing with human beings after all, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. Yeah, I am. They make a lot of mistakes, and I mean, today the focus for today is definitely discipline and accuracy, but bringing a level of intensity that we know we brought to most of the game up at Goldington Road last time, and it's just replicating that, and hopefully our home crowd, the 23rd man, will help us. And it's really important. One thing I notice with crowds, and it's not just our crowds, it's opposition crowds as well, is when it's going really well, it's really easy to be upbeat and noisy, but when the opposition are dominating, and they will dominate for periods today, that's when we need the crowd to really lift us out of it. And it's really easy to just go quiet. What I say to the players is what the mark of a good team is how they react when they're under pressure. Do they withdraw? Do they go within themselves? Do they go quiet? And if they don't, and they keep confident, they keep going and keep going and keep going, then eventually it turns, the tide turns again, and that's what we need the crowd to do today, is get behind the boys when the going gets tough. Yeah,
definitely. Having spent 3 years here and done such a lot of good work with the Pirates, in hindsight, is there anything you would have done differently?
I've made a number of mistakes, I know. I won't say what they are, but the thing is I like to think I've learnt from them. And I know that Harvey and Ian and the three of us have definitely, we've taken ourselves out of our comfort zone. It would have been very, very easy to just stay where we were last year, because we were pretty comfortable with the way things were happening. But we've gone and pushed ourselves, and we've tried a few different things which haven't come off, but we've tried them. If you just sit within your comfort zone, you're never going to develop. So, you know, I've made some mistakes along the way, but if we learn from them, they're worth it.
Yeah, it's like the players, you want them to learn from the mistakes they make as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and for them to understand, a big one is for them to understand that training it's okay to make mistakes at training. If you don't make mistakes, you're probably not pushing yourself, because we all want to get better. So that was one of the things that I struggled to start with, the boys struggled with, was the fact that this is training, you'll make mistakes, it's okay. Yeah. So,
what will be your last message to the squad of players before you leave next week?
Make sure that we get the points today, really, because I mean everything we've done this season comes down to today. Because if we win today, we're in the semi-finals, and then it's a new season again. So this is the perfect opportunity for us. Quality opposition who we love playing. It'll be a cracking game of rugby. I know that because Bedford will bring it. And great conditions and a home venue that the boys are really proud of and really love playing at. We get 4 points in the bank today. We're confirmed semi-finals. Then we can really focus on the semi-finals. I know we've got a game at Leeds, but you know that will be put off to the side, and we can just focus moving forward on the semi-finals.
How much influence will you have on the semi-finals when the Pirates get there?
None.
None at all?
Well, no, I can't. I'm not here, so
right.
I mean, I'll give them all the best wishes, and I'll no doubt send them an email through prior to that taking place. But I mean, the thing is that there's got to be, Ian is in charge, and he's got to be he's accountable, so it's got to be his decisions. And I know that Ian will ask advice from me on different things, and I'll give it, but it'll be behind the scenes stuff.
Right. And what will your final message be for the Cornish supporters, the rugby folk at large here in Cornwall?
Well, just thank you for your support, and I think I mentioned during the week that you know, the amount of supporters that consistently travel throughout the country is quite humbling, and the players and the coaching staff and the club really appreciate it, and continue to believe. And you know, coaches will come and coaches will go, and players will come and players will go, but we need the supporters to be consistent, and I'm sure that in the near future that the Cornish Pirates will be playing in a new stadium, and eventually will achieve the dream that we're all hoping for.
Exactly, we hope so, Chris. Can you ever see yourself coming back to Cornwall?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of my life now, really. I mean, 3 years, but in context, it's been a very important 3 years. So, yeah, definitely at some stage. Well,
can I say thank you on behalf of Cornish Pirates TV viewers for everything you've done, and the fans here, because you've done a great job in 3 years, and you transformed this club. So, credit to you.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate
and one final word of advice: careful when you're cleaning windows when you get home.
Yeah, I don't know. There's probably something more to that than cleaning windows.
Really?
I don't know. Just start a rumour. Yeah. All right.
Chris Stirling, thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you. Thanks,
Chris Stirling, high performance manager of Cornish Pirates, his last game today, and we look ahead to the game against Bedford in just a moment. But he's done a great job here at the Pirates for 3 years, and the Pirates will certainly miss him, but his legacy will be what the Pirates can achieve on